Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 1995 Toyota Crown Majesta. Up front is a 3.0 liter inline 6, and down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Toyota Crown Majesta for two reasons. First of all, it's always a treat for me as an American to be driving something that's right-hand drive and imported from another country, and this car is both of those. However, the second reason I'm excited is because the Toyota Crown has always been very interesting to me. It's sort of the Crown Vic of Japan, and I mean that in several different ways. People would use these as taxi cabs. They would use them for shuttle services, but they were also personal cars. If you were well off, you could buy one. If you called a car service at the airport, you would ride in one. And so it's sort of a coverall vehicle, and I'm always excited to drive cars like that. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 2JZ under the hood. Well, it's a 3-liter inline 6, non-turbo, and while in the sporty Supras that we know this engine from, we think of this blood-pumping, toe-curling, fire-breathing straight 6, it actually has a completely different purpose here. The straight 6 was chosen because it was smooth. Reliability as well, too. This is an extremely reliable engine. But here, I'm going 40 miles an hour. It's quiet, it's so silky smooth, and that's why they chose it. Now, other vehicles in this era did get V8s. They were offering 1UZs, of course, the Toyota Celsior. And when I saw that this wasn't a V8, I was like, oh, it might be a little bit sluggish. And it's not the fastest thing in the world, but I really don't care that it's missing the V8 because of how smooth it is. It's a really, really nice ride. And that's all thank you to the 2JZ. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. However, this was the final generation of Toyota Crown where you could find them in manual. So overseas, somewhere, you could find these with a stick shift. However, I have yet to ever see one. Last but not least, this is rear-wheel drive, of course. However, there were other trim levels that did offer all-wheel drive in this era. So again, something you could find overseas, but I have yet to see one with my own two eyes. How does it feel to drive the Toyota Crown Majesta? Well, besides getting over the fact that I'm on the opposite side of the car than where I normally sit, it's really nice. Like I said with that engine, it is so smooth and it's so relaxing, but it's effortlessly relaxing, if that makes sense. It's not the sort of relaxing where there's a pool boy coming up to you every 5 seconds. Do you need a drink? Do you need a towel? Do you need this? Do you need that? It's just relaxing as it is. It doesn't try to wow you with any crazy amenities. It just drives so unhindered. And that's what true luxury is. A car that can slow you down. A car that can get on your level and make your day better. That's how this car drives. And that is something I really like. Visibility is really good out the front and side windows. It does have bigger windows, which were kind of characteristic of 90s cars and just Japanese cars in general. Steering is really light, which is good in this application. I don't need firm steering to feel every bump in the road. I just like to coast, and it's good for that. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior, and let's get excited here for a second because it does have digital gauges. If you want to perk me up in the morning, you say, Zack, my car has digital gauges, and I am awake and alert because I love them so much. The Crown Majesta is no different, and I love that look. On the steering wheel, we don't actually get anything besides our cruise control stalk and the Crown badge. And off to the right, we have a climate control vent. Our power folding mirrors, very nice for 1995, and power mirror adjustments. And moving on to the door, we have our power locks and power windows, along with this really nice material that we'll also find on the seats, but absolutely love that they included it on the door cards. Moving into the center, we do have 2 climate control vents that oscillate. They have oscillation features, which is really cool and was really only seen in Japanese cars of this era and was very short-lived because eventually these motors will break and that functionality will be gone. So a lot of companies sort of stray away from this in the modern era because it's sort of gimmicky. It doesn't help out that much, but it's cool to see here in the Crown Majesta today. Then we do have our air conditioning and heating options, which off to the far left, you'll see that this vehicle is equipped with a rear air purifier. So again, this was a trend with 90s Japanese cars because smog started to become an issue. So higher end cars would actually have air purifiers built in. Such a unique feature. Then we have an aftermarket radio because any radio from the 90s isn't going to keep up with modern tech, but also double so for Japanese cars is that they don't actually get American frequencies, or Japanese car radios don't get American frequencies and vice versa. So if you want to listen to any radio station at all, unless it's super low here in the US, you're not going to be able to really hear it. Off to the right of the radio, we do have buttons to adjust the head-up display. So from the factory, this Crown Majesta comes with a head-up display that is really, really cool. And there's this little film on the windshield so you can actually see it. Very, very unique. Down below that, we have our ashtray and cigarette lighter. Then we have some coin holders and the shifter. The shifter does have power and snow mode as well. Power is going to shift it a little bit more aggressively. Snow mode is going to shift it prematurely to try to help out with wheel spin. It's going to get you to second and third gear as fast as it can to sort of lower that torque. The shifter is fine. It's out of pretty much every other Toyota I've ever driven, which is pretty standard. Then we do have an openable console here. However, there are no cup holders in the Crown Majesta that I can find, and so unfortunately, yet very predictably, it fails the big friggin' bottle test. Then we do get a little center console and the seats. The seats are finished in the same cloth material that you'll find on the door card, which again, I adore. I love how warm and inviting these seats are. The 90s cars really knew how to do cloth seats, and that's no different whether here or across the pond or across the big pond of Japan. Very, very comfortable seats, and they are power adjustable for 95, which wasn't necessarily the standard. Even today, it's not standard. I drove a $60,000 Jeep Gladiator that had manual seats. So a very nice option to have. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 1995 Toyota Crown Majesta. And a couple of things to note. First of all, right off the bat, easy peasy, headroom great, knee room great. It's going to be a great car to ride in, which is why it was used for car services and things like that in Japan. Totally makes sense. I do have pockets on the back of the seats, and I have an openable cubby down here for not only the rear air conditioning and purifier, but also the channel, tune, and volume for the front radio. So if I'm being driven around and I don't like the song that's playing, or it's too loud or too quiet, I can actually adjust that down below. Really, really cool feature to have that modern cars sometimes don't even have. So very cool to see that. In the center, we do get a center console, openable cup holders and storage in there. Overall, not any other crazy amenities, but absolutely love that. This is a car to be ridden in, and that's really, really nice. Let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Toyota Crown Majesta. Little keyhole here. Up like that, and as you can see, you do get a pretty decent amount of space. However, past the opening, you don't get much more after that because the seats are comfy, they're very thick, and so you don't really get that much further. However, to say that this is a small trunk would be a fat lie, and so you do get tons and tons of space, just not as deep because of those seats, which is interesting to see. Nothing really jumps out at me beyond that. So there it is. That is the rear trunk of a Toyota Crown Majesta from 1995. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I really like the look of the Crown. We'll talk more about it here in a second, but as we lap around the back, kind of gives me Cadillac Eldorado vibes from the early 2000s. I mean, it kind of does. Anyway, I like how subtle this car is, and so let's get into the final thoughts, and the looks really play into that. I love these Toyota luxury cars from Japan because of their subtlety and yet how efficient they are with luxury. What I mean by that is that it doesn't need all of these bells and whistles to feel nice, to be comforted. I think in life, I always assumed and I always wanted my therapist to sit me down and give me the answer to everything. To say, hey, try this, try that, try this, see if that works. That's what I always thought. that I wanted. But the more I dug into it and the more therapy I went to and therapists I talked to, what I ended up realizing was that I just wanted someone to talk to, someone to help me verbalize what I was dealing with and what I was going through. That's how this car is. Not that it's necessarily a driving ton-and-a-half therapist, although to some people it is. What I mean is that sometimes less can be more. And just because it was set up properly, with that 6-cylinder, with the cushy suspension, with the fantastic interior, it doesn't need to wow you with fireworks or gadgets or gizmos to make you think that you're in a luxury car. You just know it. And even though, to an American, that badge is Toyota, the economy brand, where Lexus is the luxury brand, that brand identity is thrown immediately out the window as soon as I start driving this. This should have a Lexus badge on it. It's on par with those products. But again, it doesn't need that Lexus badge to show you, hey, I'm luxury, I'm nice. It doesn't have to shout at you. It doesn't have to brag. It is nice. Take it or leave it. And I genuinely hope that one day you'll take it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Brandon for letting me take out his Toyota Crown Majesta. I was so excited to get behind the wheel of another Toyota Crown. They are always simply lovely. He's been absolutely wonderful to work with, and I appreciate him very, very much. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.